Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another standard deck profile. This time we're covering a upgraded Greedon deck profile. So Greedon is one of the dark states that I actually get kind of enough resources to build, while I don't purchase every single play set every set. So I kind of build it with limited resources, and so far unless I go with effect triggers, then that's another thing. Other than that, I think the deck is actually quite solid with limited resources as well, so you don't need to get a lot of things to complete this deck, because if I can do it, you can do it probably. Right? So Greedon was one of the very interesting right line that you will usually die only on 7th damage instead of 6 for a normal game. So with more support with the mask unit that is available, this is more easier to achieve. And Greedon was once like a very rogue deck, I would say, that you bring it in, it win your games, but not a lot of people using it. And now with the mask, I think the deck is actually getting a lot stronger and more stable. And we'll go over the contents bit by bit. So let's go over the right deck first. So the right line is still the Desire Devil, so Goman, Boshoku, then Greedon. You do need to have these pieces in order to basically activate everything, so just make sure you have those. And also the starter also needs to be a Desire Devil if possible, because with Greedon Mask you actually need 3 Desire Devil in order to get the effects going. So if you, unless you're very confident that you're going to soul charge another one back, don't soul blast any of these out. Other than that, you will be fine. As long as you always check this 3 is in your soul, you are basically fine. Because little spoiler, I'm not running any other Greedon copies that is not mask in the deck, so you will be only be able to use the mask removal a Greedon unit skill only once. So be careful on that. That can save you another Desire Devil, of course, so that you might have a room to actually soul blast one of these out, not one of each, but one out of these. But try not to, because sometimes you prefer to actually search the Desire Devil that is helping you out and have the effects go off, but they might need to leave the zone. So do be careful on that. Yeah. So that's basically the right line, and let's go to the next part, which is of course our Greedon Mask. So this is a new unit that we get support from BT11, and we are not expected this to come that soon. We know that his user actually appear in anime, get in there, and he probably will get involved in that, but not that quick. But we already get this card, and it's so strong. So let's also talk about what he does. First, of course, like all the mask unit that you can only ride on top of a non-mask, we're basically only ride on a Greedon unit, not non-mask. That's my bad. Only can ride on Greedon unit. So you can't use him on the right deck. He's not exactly that Greedon, so they're naming some stuff. But of course, you can just keep rewriting himself for personal ride. That's basically what must do. And then another skill is a permanent skill. You will only lose to 7 damage normally, so extra win still counts, of course, but so far I don't think there is one yet. So yeah, with the old Greedon, you actually need to have another Greedon to get this skill activated. It's not that hard, but if the other Greedon doesn't come, it just doesn't come. You can't do anything about it, right? But now, as long as your Vanguard is a Greedon mask, you will only lose to 7 damage by taking damages. Yeah, and then it's the removal skill that I just talked about. If you remove from hand, from soul, from drop a Greedon that is not the same name with Greedon Masques, so basically just the normal version, then you can look at the 7 cards on top of your deck, select a desired level, reveal it, and then add to your hand, show your deck. So you get to get another piece. But the reason why we need 3 is the next skill. Once per turn, when this unit attack battle ends, if your soul have 3 desired level card, 3 or more, then you can put 3 standing regards from your regard circle to your soul, stand this unit, and for the turn it will get plus 5k. So in order to activate this skill, you have to have 3 desired level while you basically while you are attacking, or like until the battle ends. So not a good idea to soul blast your desired level, and always try to keep them at 3, and some of them will just go away, so do make sure you always look at the count. If not, you will not be able to use any of his skill to restand and get the plus 5, and that's basically how you win games. So make sure you look at your soul very carefully. And then for the mask package, I'm running 2 of the mask, and then 3 of this Skull Camda. So Skull Camda generate Dragon Tree marker and search through the mask. That's basically his uses, and that's basically where you might soul blast one of your desired level out because you are searching your mask. I was thinking to use a little bit more on the mask because getting to Greedon Masques earlier is actually helpful, but so far from my testing, I think this ratio is doing me good. If you prefer, you can find space to put in another mask just in case, but so far I'm working fine, and sometimes I can afford to stay on Greedon for a turn and then just even normal ride into Greedon Masques. I don't get the personal ride benefit by using the mask or the skill, but I still get to do enough pressure to my opponent sometimes. So far I don't see the need of going for too much of this package, but if you really don't feel comfortable, you can add another mask if you want to. Okay, and let's talk about more desired level package. So first we have 4 of the Fujo. The Fujo is one of your wing con basically. When this unit it puts into regard circle into soul by ability of your Vanguard with Greedon its card name, so doesn't matter which of them, then you can choose one of opponent regards and retire it. So that is important, you get retired. And then when your Vanguard with Greedon its card name attacks, bind this card, and until end of the battle, when your opponent would call cards from the hand to Guardian Circle, they must score 2 or more at the same time. So you are blocking your opponents to do some simple guards, especially when you aren't pressure riding, or when you are too big that they are going to PG you. Those are the moments that Fujo is going to help you out, and because you basically just put regards into your soul every single turn, so you get to pop something. That is very nice. And 2 of the Saisho. So this is also a new support from DBT 11 with 2 skills. One of them is a continuous from deck. If you have Vanguard with Greedon its card name, this card is also regarded as the same name as all of the cards in your soul with desired level in the card names. So it's important that you do have your Goman in your soul, because well, or even just that, because they just consider the same name as these guys, and when you are searching cards from your deck that based it on what you have in your soul, which is basically the right line does, this you can just immediately grab this card into your hand. And the second skill is if your soul have 3 or more cards with desired level in its card name, which basically is a right line, this unit will get plus 5k and plus 5k shield. So it's a 15k attacker, 10k shield. But other than being able to search out easily as a replacement or on whatever, and a slightly higher attack beater and shield, that's basically his uses, so I'm not using a lot of them. Some people use 4, but I need room for like this package, so I'm actually cutting this, and also I need space for the next card, which is Cannon. So this is something that is back to BTO4, and I actually need to buy these cards recently just for upgrading my Greedon, because I didn't buy any playset from DBT4 because I wasn't too hype into the Grade 4 boost. That's why. And this card skill is when this unit is placed on Rigard Circle during your main phase, by counterblasting 1, look at the top card of your deck, call the Rigard Circle, at the end of the turn, retire that card unit. So you will be putting those cards into your soul anyway, so having cards that generate more boards is important. I was running like 3 to 4 of this card, and then I just, because I finally get my hands into these ones, so I make space for this, because every single turn, if you are hard calling cards from your hand, is actually quite painful, so I'm using this to actually help me out. And then 3 of the clean sweep. If you really want to use another mask, you can feel free to cut one of these into a mask, but it's basically the same personalized support that is probably the best one for across all the nations, that can simply just wipe 3 units out of the world into the soul, as long as you're personalizing and have a high power. That's basically it. And it's an active skill, so as long as you keep personalizing, this skill will still be able to active, and you usually will just be wiping your opponent's board instead of yourself, unless you are soul blasting a desired devil carelessly and you have another one in hand while you're personalizing. Then you can actually put one of yours in there in order to actually get your Greedon Masques activate the resetting skill requirements again. So it's something that helps you out if you make mistakes, and it's something that always helps you out by clearing things that you feel are annoying. So I think it's still a very good card to use, but if you really want to use one more mask, then I think this is the place where you can actually cut. And then great ones we just run very less is 4 PGs, 2 more Gomans, because I want to do a little bit different guard restrictions, so that's why it's here. And I usually have a lot of counterblast spares, so I don't mind that. And then 2 Gungrams, so that when I like put the mask into my soul by superior riding and person riding my Greedon Masques, and then I can soul blast it out to draw cards. And another way to just simply do some soul charging, because if I actually need something to speed up, then I get that. And because Greedon will always put 3 cards into my soul, so that's always give me 3 souls to soul blast to draw one if I want to. But do remember, he's a backrow regard, so there will be a very high chance that you won't put him in front, and that means you probably will need to be careful on when you call this guy, soul charge, soul blast, draw, and then you will put him into soul in order to restand your Greedon. Unless you really have other better choices, then you put him to the front while person riding, so he still hits something and might draw you another card next turn. So do be careful on that, but this is still a very good staple for the nations to actually use, and I think it's getting more expensive now, I think, so do be careful on getting these. Next, immediately triggers already. Dark States over trigger because you're restanding, so the plus crit plus power is actually helping a lot more. Yeah, that's basically it. And then I'm lucky to get myself soaring crit, so I'm using soaring crit. And then for more normal crits, if you don't have the effect crit, you just use normal one. I don't think that matters. Draw, if you can upgrade to a effect draw triggers, that would be great. If not, so far I'm fine with that. And then just for normal heals, I don't go too deep into like preventing a critting Vanguard or resetting Vanguard or Regard. I just use the normal ones. If your like the tournament area or the meta around you is going to be heavy crit based, then you can just switch into those. If they are good at multiple attacking with the same unit, then you might consider another heal. But to me, this deck is aggro enough to give my opponents trouble, so I just rather use some more stable shield value. But this one I just don't have the effect draw trigger, so that's another thing. If I have them, I will just put them in. Basically, that's all. Yeah. So that's basically the deck list. And what your game plan with this deck is actually quite simple. No matter you go first or second, for me, I will have my mask in my drop zone, and whenever I just go into this, I will immediately go into my Greedon Masques, because I can just simply swing. I don't care about the person, right? Of course, if I do have that, great. But most of the time, you won't be using the basic Greedon skill. At least that's what I think, because that costs you a lot more, to be honest. And there's a chance, because I'm not running any more normal Greedons in my main deck, so I will lose on 6 damage by using the normal Greedon. And when you're at 3, your opponents go in, you say no guard, they double crit you, that's the end of the game. And that's not fully utilizing Greedon's ability to lose on 7 damage. So I usually just go on whenever I get a chance, and then I will just look for another one to just keep person riding, and that's be it. But of course, if you are on just like 1 damage or so, and you're just going first, then you can just simply go in swing with your Greedon. That's totally fine. But I think with the current meta, that usually won't be happening at all. So I'd rather just go into Greedon Masques, like how people play Drag Shield, that they will also go into their Drag Shield Mask immediately for the crit, and for the pressure that they can apply, retiring 2 regards, and then they can go back to their Drag Shield normal version, whatever they want. But we won't be doing that, because we don't have room for extra copy of normal Greedon, and it's still better to stay on Greedon Mask, and we just keep personalizing it. Even if we can't, we can still do a normal 30k swing, which stands for 18 and still swinging. That is still sometimes important to like bait your opponent, or like making them thinking a lot harder, because with high attacks it's usually easier to calculate. With small numbers, sometimes it's actually quite hard, because they might see how high you can go, but with a restanding Vanguard, a 2 pass is never safe, because you can simply just put at least 1 trigger onto your Vanguard, and even the first attack doesn't matter. It will restand and do a second one, and they will still need to give you more. So yeah, that's the concept I go with for Greedon Masques, that I always just go into Greedon Masques and I stay on it. And for regards, I usually probably just do this and then this. That's basically what I need to do. Yeah. And once I get this, I might just put it back, do this, and then put it in. Other than that, it just depending on what you have. Like, you can just put it in to pop. You can use this core and other stuff so that you have 3. And as I said, you can just soul charge 1, soul raspberry, put this breed in, done. And you just repeat the process. Yeah. So the deck is really fun after I actually touch it. I bought the playset for DBT 11 for Dark Stage just for upgrading Greedon, and I didn't actually need to use a lot of cards to upgrade. So Mask is something that I already have. Clean Sweep probably, these two probably be expensive, but if you are like playing Unica, you will have these anyways. And this also, this is from the set. Gangram, you probably shouldn't be too hard to find. Greedon, you basically just buy the playset and get it. These ones, if you're playing Greedon, you should have these. I just kind of stopped playing Greedon after BD3, so that's why I don't have those. And other than that, all stuff are basically simple, so you don't need too much effort to complete this deck. And have to say, compared to Unica, this deck is way more stable, way more threatening, way less relying on luck. That's all I would conclude this deck comparing to Unica, because with Unica, as long as I don't put or don't see any single crit throughout the whole game into my hand or drop, I basically end. So, but this, no matter how bad your hand is, you can still turn it into something, as long as you go into your Greedon Mask, and you have 9 cards out of a 46 deck to make sure this happen. That is already 1 card above seeing a crit. So to me, it's really more stable, and we do have a lot of things to just do here and there and squeezing. So and you have so much counter loss. So what you can do is just even use this, and when you see this card, you just bring it out, card blast 1, soul blast 1, grab yourself a mask, use it immediately, and then go into your Greedon Mask. Right? So you use resources, but again, it's way more stable. And I'm so happy that Greedon get this kind of upgrade. I do want to see other decks that actually get this kind of stable upgrades, especially for Nirvana Jiva. We do need a lot more support that keeps the game going with the deck, and not just like get board wipe and done. Right, so yeah, that's basically the end of this deck profile. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below. Like and share with your friends on this video, and subscribe for more deck profiles, deck fights, and unboxing videos. And that's it for me today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.